Hi. Welcome to your March 2022 readings. They are going to look a little bit different going forward. We are restructuring the channel, which is really awesome because we get to bring on some pretty amazing content creators to give you guys more content to watch as well. But that also means, I'm going to be shifting some things around just to keep the schedule smooth, I guess, if you will. So, all 12, you'll find all 12 Zodiac readings in this video. All the timestamps for the readings are in the pinned comment under this video. If you would like to get the full version of any of the readings, you can do that by becoming a member of the channel. You can do that by clicking the button below or checking out Patreon. That information is in the description box. Or you can go to Vimeo and purchase your reading or all 12 readings there with the full version, and that information is in the description box as well. Things are always a little bit bumpy when we're changing stuff. So, and we've been changing things a lot this year. So I really appreciate everybody's support. It's kind of amazing to watch things evolve and to watch, some of you, I have recognized your name for years. So thank you for that. And I hope that you guys enjoy these readings just as much as you did all of the other ones. And March is going to be a really fun and fantastical time. There can be a lot of illusions that come up during March, but it really is a time for us to start manifesting, and not even to start manifesting, but to continue manifesting the life that we want to see and the life that we want to have. So I'm really, really excited for you guys to watch these readings. They are really great. I do have some personal reading appointments open in March. I would love to do readings for you guys. This is the last year that I will be offering personal readings on a regular basis, and they are all at 2019 prices. So check that out. I also have special readings. I'll have some special readings throughout the year just because I want to be able to give back to you guys too. And it's going to be kind of a bittersweet, really fun, bittersweet sort of shift and change. So all of that information is in the description box. The website is loveandscience.one. You can find my readings there. I love you guys. Enjoy your readings. Bye. Hi, Pisces. Welcome to your March 2022 reading. I'm a little bit hoarse, but we're going to get through this. It'll be fine. Everything is fine. We're going to start with the cards because March is really magical and the astrology is going to be kind of amazing and magical as well. But I want to see... Because when there are a lot of beneficial things that look really fun and pretty in astrology, sometimes that can create a lot of extra emotions in us, and we're not really getting the benefits so much out of it as much as we thought that we would. You're showing up right away. Yep, we're just going to be quiet for a minute. Sometimes the no talking, right? Oh, this is good. Okay. You can take a sigh you can breathe. Like you can breathe out. All right. So the first card you showing up in your reading, we have the King of Cups. It's a really interesting, like, monochromatic thing that's happening with that picture. Oh, well. And then we have the Strength card. Ah, perfect. The Six of Cups. I even wrote down here, this is a time to see that your past narratives do not define who you currently are. Six of Cups, and that's all about the past and your childhood. And I mean, it's about soulmates too, but even soulmates from the past, right? We have narratives in our mind that we've carried over from soulmates, from, you know, that we've had relationships with. Bottom row, Ace of Pentacles, the Judgment card, yes, and Justice. It's funny because a lot of people get scared with that Judgment card, and really it's just the universe saying it is time. It's time for you to step forward into your purpose, into the thing that makes you you, right? And that can be frightening for a lot of people, but the universe is literally right above you as the guardian angel telling you, saying like, I got you, I got this, I'm here too, right? There's a strength that you are really acquiring with yourself, and I feel like a lot of it is coming from the healing that you've done from the past. You could be dealing with a Leo energy or a Libra energy. Also, the Six of Cups often represents the Sun in Scorpio, so you could be dealing with the Scorpio energy as well. But it's really about a soul's evolution. It's really about, you know, allowing yourself to gain strength through your soul's evolution. Ace of Pentacles. I like to remind everybody when we get aces in readings that aces are gifts from the universe. And yes, it is your birthday season. So are you open and receptive to the gifts that the universe wants to bring to you? Because I promise you this, 100%, I promise you this, that if you say you're open and receptive to something and it comes in and you find out that you still have some healing to do, I promise that you will not be very happy about that, because you could alienate that very thing that you wanted so badly in your life because you really weren't as prepared for it as you thought you were. And so you have to ask yourself, and because the universe is showing it to you, and that really what I'm saying when I say you have to ask yourself whether you're ready, really what I'm saying to you is please get ready for the thing so you don't have to ask yourself if you're ready. Like, that's, I mean, let's just not do the subliminal messaging through anything anymore. Let's just be straight up honest about what needs to be done, because you are ready. And the only thing that's going to hold you back from thinking that you're ready is the fear. And the reason why I know that you're ready is the Judgment card is here. The universe wouldn't be showing up in such a big way to nudge you along if it wasn't this important. If it wasn't time right now. And that's the beautiful thing about the Judgment card. The first 2 days of March, we have a new moon in your sign. And this new moon will be, let's see, hold on. So we'll have the Sun sextile Uranus. We'll have the Pisces new moon. Mercury will be conjunct Saturn. Mars and Venus will be conjunct Pluto. So Mars and Venus have been doing this conjunction dance. They still have a couple more weeks doing that. And all of that is literally happening around the new moon, that first week in March. And yes, it can be extremely overwhelming, But this is bringing the kind of change, especially that sextile, the sun sextile Uranus. If your birthday is around that sun sextile Uranus, this year, the way you allow yourself to work with shifting and changing, and not really, you know, because it's an evolution of your higher self, the sun sextile Uranus. And Uranus doesn't, he means well, you know, he wants to help us evolve, just like Pluto wants to help us evolve, but Pluto doesn't really mean well. He just wants to pull the rug out from underneath you and kind of laugh and be like, you wanted change, here you go. With Uranus, it's more like, I really am looking out for you, but these are the things that need to change right now. And there is no soft landing when it comes to that. There is none. It's Uranus is just like doing this, right? And Jupiter is sort of in the same way, but he's really optimistic and jovial about it, so you can't be mad. We get mad, but you can't really be mad. And they're all there to help us expand. But when it's so concentrated, all the energy right now is in Capricorn and Aquarius and Pisces, everything is really concentrated right there and really isn't going to start spreading until maybe Taurus season, spreading out a little bit more, but it can be, there's a lot of pressure that can be there. So even though, and I love that all of this really amazing change and stuff, and the reason why I'm saying that I'm kind of giving you like the positive, and I wouldn't really call it a negative, but the things to really look out for is because during Pisces season, especially this one, anything goes. And I don't want you to miss a step. Like, I don't want you, I'm the Virgo friend that's going to tell you, hey, pay attention to the details. Look over here, look over this, you know. And then you're going to look at me and be like, why can't you use your imagination a little bit? You know, like that's how we work together. You tell us how to use our imagination and we help you along with the details. But that's the thing is you've had plenty of time to think about it. And you have had a lot of time in the healing process. And that's why the universe is saying, now is the time, now is the time, now is the time. Now, if some of you aren't really feeling ready to make the changes and stuff like that, that is also 100% perfectly acceptable. And I don't want you to feel like you're going to be left behind during this Pisces season if you don't make some kind of massive change in your life. That's not how this works. Because even in the small details of life, even in the small things that happen in our lives, smiling at a stranger or, you know, giving money to the homeless person that's you've seen sitting on the corner for the last year, you know, because we all get very skeptical about things like that. And just doing little things in your life can create huge, gigantic benefits for you, not just the people that you do things for. You see? And that's what the magic of this Pisces season is we've got Saturn in Aquarius trying to teach us how to work with people, work with each other better. And now we have all of this energy and all of this beautiful, beneficial energy in Pisces that is creating no boundaries. Because the reality of it is that you guys chose to be, you know, it'd be the sign of Pisces, and that means one of your biggest lessons is learning how to create and uphold your boundaries in your life. Just like a Virgo's lesson is to be less freaking critical, stop overthinking. So, you know, we all have our things that we chose to learn while we're here. So, and the beautiful part of this too is that it's creating some kind of balance in your life. And there's also, I always see the Justice card as that level up, because in one of the decks that I have, there's a Wheel of Fortune sitting above her head. And so I always feel like, oh, wow, yeah, that chroma key, something got to change. That's weird. But yeah, so I always feel like the Justice card is that leveling up of, you know, something that's going on in your life because of the balance that you're creating. So, um, yeah, we'll talk a little bit more about the astrology. We're going to get much more in depth in the extended, and we're going to clarify your reading here as well. But the amazing part is that whatever this next step that you're coming into, this next part of your journey that you're coming into, you're getting a really big round of applause from the universe about it. Like there's and that's um that's leveling your soul up in a really big way. So this is a really cool reading. All right, I'm excited to do your extended. I love you guys. Take care of yourselves. Have a great, great birthday season. Bye. Hi, Aries. It's funny, I can always feel when you guys are restless, just right before I start one of your readings. I don't know what that is. I don't know why. Make sure we got the right microphone going because I want you guys to be able to hear what I'm saying. Okay, so Pisces season is all about feeling things. I know that, oh wow. I know that that is probably true for most of us, but it is very true for you because all of this energy, all of this stuff is happening in your 12th house. And that house can be kind of scary. You guys are used to having Pisces energy, obviously, in your 12th house. But most of you are not used to having Jupiter, Neptune, the sun, and the new moon all together in your 12th house. And that can be, it can feel like you're trapped in a prison of your own mind if you are not allowing yourself to see outside of yourself. If you're not allowing yourself to get in touch with everything that is, all that is, right? Source energy is within you. And when you realize that and you see your true power, there isn't anything on the outside of you that can change that, that can destroy that absolute truth that you found about yourself. And Pisces season every year is sort of that reminder for you that you have this innate power within you and that it's an extremely psychic. You know, you can see, you can spot a bullshitter a mile away because of that Pisces 12th house. So, and the Scorpio 8th house, and you know, and the just Cancer 4th. It's all very, you all are very psychic. So, trusting your own intuition is going to be really, really huge. You're learning how to do that with Jupiter and Neptune together in your 12th house. And it can be quite scary because when you have all of this Capricorn energy where the projections are huge, right? Like you have all of this Capricorn energy going on in your 10th house. Mars, Venus, Pluto, they will be conjunct in March, and then Mars and Venus are going to be marching on to Aquarius, where it won't feel like we've been in prison. Our relationships have been in prison. Our money has been in prison. Like everything feels like it's just been taking so long to get out of. So, let's look at the cards that came out. We have the Four of Swords. I love that. Six of Pentacles. The Four of Swords, I love that the Four of Swords came out because it's literally the 12th house begs you to isolate yourself and to rest. Is there such a thing as too much isolation? Absolutely. We don't want you to isolate yourself so much that you're alienating the people that you love. We don't want you to do that. But because relationships, and this is one of the lessons that you have in this lifetime to learn, relationships are absolutely of importance to us. And the relationship with ourself shows us the kind of relationships that we'll have with other people. And sometimes it's not our fault that we have a toxic relationship with ourselves, but we absolutely have to heal that. And sometimes isolation helps with healing the relationship with yourself. And so Pisces season, the beginning of it, is really, really asking you to reassess where you're placing all of your energy. Here, let me turn this a little bit this way. I'm afraid that it'll just fall off my desk if I move it too much. So yeah, right off the bat, the Four of Swords and the Six of Pentacles are asking you to reassess where you place your energies. Are you giving it to people, places, and things that are no longer resonating for you? Because everything that is in our life has resonated with us at some point. And it is up to us to learn when those energies no longer resonate with us so that we can grow and expand. Because energies that aren't resonating with us anymore, if we're holding on to that, that's going to be a blockage. You see? So are you letting go of those energies you no longer resonate so that you can plant your new seeds of intention with that new moon in Pisces? And the thing here, what I really love about this is what you're wanting to do is plant seeds of intention that are real. These are pentacles. This Seven of Pentacles, and it's really based off of a vision that you've had. Ten of Cups. You already know what you'd like for this vision to look like. I love the Ten of Cups. But the Ten of Cups, especially during Pisces season, can also be quite the illusion. So paying attention when we, a lot of times when we're stepping into another level, we have these massive emotions or these massive things in our life that need to be released to make room, right? And this Ten of Cups is possible to achieve. This Ten of Cups is possible to happen, but you have to make sure that you're asking yourself, again, have I made enough room to be able to manifest this stuff? And that's sort of where we are going with Pisces season. Two of Pentacles and then the Star. So that Mercury and Saturn conjunction is showing up. And that's, it's interesting is that's happening in your 11th house. And so this is, Saturn in your 11th house is asking you also to reassess your hopes and dreams and how to do it and how to get there and the pivots that you need to make in life. Because if that's what you really want and that's what you really want to create in your life, these are the things that you're going to have to do. And it takes responsibility and it takes these certain tasks and it takes, the steps that we have to take to get there. And that's why I feel like this Two of Pentacles, we have the Ten of Cups on one side and the Star flanking, on the other side. And it's really funny because I feel like you're sort of at this point where you're asking yourself, do I go towards my hopes and dreams or do I go towards my purpose? And why is that not the same thing? That's what I want you to ask yourself. Why is it that because I'm wondering if you realize what your purpose is, but you're like, man, that's going to be so much. And what I really want is this instead, right? Because it's just looks nicer, right? The aesthetic probably looks better. The funny part is both of them can come together if you look at it in a different perspective. For some of you, you have an Aquarius in your life that you're trying to decide whether you want to keep in your life long term, but you manifested this person into your life. And so there's something about having to revise the way that you're thinking about the situation that you're in. I feel like that's what the Four of Swords is doing for you. That's what all of this 12th house energy is really helping to create for you, is this revision of whatever you thought this 10 of Cups was going to be. It's being revised. And whatever it is that you keep focusing your attention on, that's what's going to keep growing. So the more you focus on somebody that you're kind of unsure about, the less focus that you're going to be on those things that we're coming up on your season. It is time to start planting those seeds of intentions for the way that you want this year to happen. The Virgo full moon just before, this is the astrological new year. And so you get a fresh, brand new beginning. And really that's true of every single day that we have. But this one is that culmination that you've been coming to. And I don't want you to get it mixed up. I don't want you to get it's so funny because a lot of people think that their purpose is the thing that they're really good at. And while that is true, you will be good at whatever your purpose is. It's not necessarily, it's not necessarily you working 80 hours a week and, having to kill yourself to do that. So, paying attention to the things that you want to see grow, that's going to be a theme for March. And we're going to look further into the astrology and clarify these cards for you even more in the extended. But yeah, I think the reason why you're vacillating is because you're not actually seeing how your purpose and what it is that you dreamt of, in your, the vision that the original vision that you had. They're actually aligning and coming together the more that you focus on the things that you want. I feel like there's this back and forth that you're doing with yourself. And to me, it feels more of you're unsure about the direction that you're going, even though everything has been really, really highlighted for you. So yeah, let's see what we can get more out of the clarification. I love you guys. Have a wonderful March. Happy birthday to the March Aries. I'll see you in the extended. Bye. Hi, Taurus. Happy March. Welcome to your reading. Things just have been really strange, all the happenings that have been going on in the world and in the cosmos and all of this stuff. My cat's coming over to say hi. She might, oh no, she's just going to stay there. So I hope you guys are doing well. Pisces season is helping us to reset ourselves before Aries season comes along. There's a lot of magic happening in Pisces season. For you guys, it's really about the community. It's really about the people, the people that you can surround yourself with. And I know that you guys are kind of a loner sign. Let's just say you guys like to have your alone time, but you can also be very social creatures when you feel comfortable around the people, when you feel comfortable in a group. And that's sort of what's happening now. Jupiter has been in your 11th house, and now the sun is there, and with Neptune and this new moon that'll be happening on March 2nd. And we'll talk about it a little bit further in depth in the extended, but basically this is showing you the things that you have been dreaming of and the things that you've been really hoping and wanting to do, that stuff that brings a fire to you and puts a fire in your belly, everything's sort of just aligning right now. And if you allow yourself to see the areas that you need to remove yourself from because the energy in those areas are not good for you anymore, the expansion that you can have is huge. So, I mean, that's what I want for you. That's what I want, you know, for you guys to be able to see, how big, other people are going to come along and sort of help this as well. With Jupiter in the 11th house, you might meet people, or you might just sort of expand your community or expand your friend group. And they're very beneficial also to your hopes and dreams happening. So there's a lot of magical stuff that can happen during Pisces season if we can look at things outside of just it being about us. You know, it's like Saturn in Aquarius really has been teaching us that this needs to be a community effort. Like, we all need to come together instead of being so divided, right? We see what division does to everybody. And so, you know, Saturn has kind of been teaching us that while he's been in Aquarius. And you allowing yourself to have a friend group is a big deal. And to not just be a loner, you know, that can kind of be a big deal for some of you, because you know, Taurus, like, you know, I've said this so many times before, but earth signs were basically born tiny adults. So we learn very early in life, you know, the ways of the world, the more difficult ways of the world. So you kind of learn how to do things on your own. And this Pisces season is showing you that you don't really have to do everything on your own necessarily. So let's see. What the cards are saying. You're showing up. Look at you, look at you. Okay. There may be a relationship that you're thinking about walking away from. And the interesting thing is, and maybe it's not a relationship that you're walking away from, but there are things that you're walking away from so that you can be aligned to your highest vision, to your highest, oh yeah. And you still have some decisions that you have to make. You still have to be able to say, you know, this is the way that things are going to be because this is the way that I want it to be. This is not, I'm not making decisions based on what everybody else around me wants anymore. I'm making decisions based on what I need. So we have the 8 of Cups. We have the 2 of Pentacles. We have the Lovers. So yes, clearly some of you that I'm speaking to, you're having to make a decision on walking away from a relationship that you were in that you felt very, very connected to the other person. Sometimes when we have that close of a connection with somebody, it's really hard to understand that there are expiration dates for every relationship, even if you are with somebody until the day that you transition, your body transitions, right? That's an expiration date. So, I mean, I know that that doesn't help the wound sometimes, but this also makes me feel like there's just some things that you have been emotionally attached to in your life, and you're trying to decide what it is that you align with, you no longer align with, or you align with. Here you are showing up, right? King of Pentacles. The reason why you're doing this right now is because you have this beautiful vision, and it's not just a 10 of Cups vision, it is a 10 of Pentacles vision. And the difference between that is Cups is just done with the emotions part, and the Pentacles starts with the emotions, because everything starts with emotions really when we're manifesting stuff. But you bring it into reality. It starts with an imagination. It starts with the creative part, which is what the 10 of Cups is. You see a vision, right? But your vision is that I want to have this 10 of Pentacles, which is a long-term, stable relationship, and a long-term, you know, and a family, and like all of these things. And I want it to be comfortable, and I don't want it to be something, I want it to just, be that thing that I've really been hoping and wishing for, the sun, right? And now you can see it. That sun is telling me that the vision is in your sights in a really big way in March. And things are starting to become very real. And I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised with all of this 11th house energy that's going on, because the 11th house isn't just about community. The 11th house is the star card. It's about your hopes and wishes and dreams, and the way that you want to manifest and the things that you want to bring into your life. And when you allow yourself to see that with clarity, instead of seeing it in the murkiness of the world, there's so much more that you can have from it. So I can see where that decision, here's the thing though, this 2 of Pentacles can get you in a lot of trouble. Because that vacillating, the time that you take while trying to decide or trying to make a decision, the time that you take could really be spent in so many other ways, making plans or creating new pathways for yourself and stuff like that. And while I know that you're going to tell me, well, Betsy, there are things that are, I need to consider this, and I need to consider that, and I need to consider this, and I need to consider that. And while I respect all the things that you want to consider out of the situation, to me, you're basically like, that your intuition is telling you one thing, because that's one side of the pentacle, right? And then all of the reasons why you can't do what your intuition is telling you is the other side of the pentacle. So really all the vacillating is just you questioning yourself, questioning your own intuition. Because you're not trusting that things will be taken care of in the way that they're supposed to be taken care of. Yes, you do your part. Yes, you say, okay, well, this is what my intuition wants me to do, so let me do this in the most logical way, or let me do it this way. And you start to follow a path that feels comfortable. Might be a little scary, but it's comfortable in some way. It's like, wow, this is, and it opens up and opens up and opens up. And that's where you're creating it and bringing a vision that you had into reality. Very interested to see how we're going to, how this is going to turn out with clarifying and stuff in the extended, and what it is that you're walking away from. But you may already know, you may have all those answers. But I'm really curious to see, and we're going to talk about your astrology a little bit deeper. So I hope you guys have a wonderful March. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I will see you guys in your extended. Bye. Hey, Gemini. Welcome to your March 2022 reading. So we're going to shuffle up some cards. We'll talk a little bit about the astrology too. There's a lot of magical stuff happening in your house of career and responsibilities. And the funny thing is it feels a little bit like, yes, it's a celebratory time, but as I was like shuffling the cards, I thought about, well, it's Pisces season. So yeah, there's going to be an emotional tone to it for sure, in a big way. And it's because there's going to be a lot of the reminiscing stuff that comes up. You're recognizing the things that, like, you have either let go of them already physically, or you're ready to start letting go of them physically. You're recognizing that, and you're seeing things in a much clearer kind of way. But it's emotional, right? It's emotional. The first cup we got is the 3 of Cups, which I love. I am not a third-party situation tarot reader when it comes to the 3 of Cups. unless we get something negative with this when we're clarifying, we're going with the celebration. But I feel like what's happening is you're actually walking away from one thing and coming into another thing, because then we have the Eight of Cups. And after that, we have the Sun. So it feels bittersweet, right? That Eight of Cups with the Three of Cups feels very bittersweet. You knew that this was happening. It was a long time coming that something like this was going to be happening, but it's good for you. It's growth. It's evolution. It's creating new pathways for you. So we have Three of Cups, Eight of Cups, and the Sun. We have Temperance at the bottom of the deck. Let's get a couple more cards. You could have a Leo energy or a Sagittarius energy in your life as well. Lots of cups, you guys. The Geminis are a little bit emotional in March, huh? And yes, the confusion, the emotion can come from the confusion. So we have the Seven of Cups, and we have the Six of Swords. So the new moon in Pisces, the first week in March, that new moon in Pisces is shining light on your responsibilities. And it's also showing you new and better ways to work, to have a career, to be successful, to grow up, right? It's not, the world isn't the way that it was. Like, for example, 20, 30, 40 years ago when I was born, it was all about just being successful. Like, it was all about the hustle, right? I was born in the late 70s. So, and the times are changing now. Like, people are exhausted. We don't want to do that anymore. And Pisces season is a time for you to see how when you get super exhausted, when you overextend yourself in any situation at all, you're going to get emotional and you're going to fall apart and you're going to do all of those things. Having Pisces in the 10th house is kind of a blessing and a curse, because you can see other people very, very clearly with Pisces in the 10th house, with all of that psychic energy sitting there. However, if you're not doing something that brings purpose to you, you're gonna just be miserable all the time. And so not having boundaries will be a thing if you're miserable all the time, and all of that. So that's why I feel like this bittersweet walking away from whatever it is that you are walking away from or needing to walk away from, that it's been a long time coming. And it's going to make things easier, even if you can't see how it's going to make things easier. So we have Temperance and the patience that you need through the confusion. The patience that's going to be required through this confusing time is going to be a really big deal. That full moon in Virgo is going to be showing you what you need to do to show up for yourself. Okay, yeah, so the full moon in Virgo on the 18th is happening in your 4th house, and it's really showing you how to show up for yourself. It's really showing you, because where the Pisces new moon is wanting you to step further into your own shining light, into your own purpose, into your own responsibilities, into your own life, and really be there for yourself. So is the Virgo moon. The Virgo moon is showing you how you need to be nurtured. Maybe you weren't nurtured the way that you needed to be as a child. And that Virgo full moon on on the 18th in your fourth house is just is giving you the opportunity to reparent yourself. And what's really funny is, there's most parents have the best of intentions for their kids, but they're still going to screw their kids up. Even the parents that like took such good care of their children that their children didn't even know, like they didn't do anything for themselves ever, right? Like the parent thought that they were doing the best for their kids that way, but the kid is like, I want to be able to do things my way and find out the hard way kind of stuff too. So there's this level of reparenting that we all sort of have to do. And as much as our parents try and do the best that they can, they're not going to be perfect. So we have to remember that, and remembering that so that we're not blaming them, first of all, because there's nothing really wrong with us. There's nothing wrong with anybody. It's just recognizing that we all have to grow up, and we all have to grow up in certain ways, and this is kind of your time that's doing that. So during March, being honest with yourself about the things that you have to stop doing. Some of this could be, with all of these cups, some of it could be like the excess of drinking too much, or the excess of smoking too much, or like some kind of obsession that you might have had. There's Mars and Venus conjunct in Capricorn has been creating an obsession. And I mean, even a lot of people are recognizing that like some old toxic habits have been coming in as well. You're going to feel really, really restless when that moves into Aquarius. So this is the time for you to make space to expand. Because if Mars and Venus go into Aquarius and you're really super restless and you're ready to start expanding all the things that you want to expand, and you don't do it because you're like, I have this I have to do, and I have this I have to do, and I have this I have to do, and I have this, and all of these responsibilities that I have that I didn't take my time to get done and taken care of, you're not going to be ready for the expansion part. And I want you to be ready for the expansion part. So, even though you don't know exactly how everything's going to line up, Gemini, everything is moving in an easier direction for you with that Six of Swords. And the Seven of Cups doesn't always have to be bad. Sometimes it's nice to have a whole bunch of different options, and allowing yourself to see how far you've come is really going to open up some of those options as well. But yeah, taking your time through all of this and really letting yourself feel all of it is going to be another thing. Don't try to just rush through, and don't try to just like shut your feelings down so you never have to think about it or any, don't numb yourself to it. Numbing yourself to it always makes it so much worse later. I mean, I guess if that's what you have to do, feels like this is a grieving time, but it's also a celebratory time. So I'm excited to see what the cards will say during the extended. And we're going to get further into the astrology for the extended as well. So I love you guys. Take care of yourselves. And I will see you in the extended. Bye. Hi, Cancer. Welcome to your March reading. We have the Palo Santo burning over here to kind of chill out the vibe a little bit. So March is Pisces season is really going to be one of those times for you where you're healing a lot of your own belief systems. Let's put it that way. we are programmed, and even like through life, like even if we change our belief system from our childhood, like you change it from, become a Christian in your teenage years or something like that, and then you decide to change again. And we're always evolving our belief systems, right? Or we should always be evolving our belief systems, I guess, is the way that I want to say that. But this is the time of year where you're really looking at all of the things that you value and all of the things that you want to create and you want to expand and you want to move forward on. And there's a lot of magical energy for you to manifest with the Sun and Jupiter and Neptune, with the new moon in your ninth house that first week. And then we also have Mercury joining Saturn in your eighth house, helping you, like Saturn has been there helping you to learn how to work well with other people, and really showing you how to be better with your budget and be better with your money. So, and sharing space with people is not always an easy thing to do. Like, yes, we are humans, and yes, part of the human experience is having relationships with other people. But we're not all, like, there are times in our lives where we just kind of need that nudge a little bit more, and this is sort of that time in your life that's going to be happening. You might feel like conversations are a little bit more difficult or a little bit more serious, more intense than they normally have been with that around this full moon, or I'm sorry, around this new moon. But again, it's all in an effort to heal. Like, now would be a good time for you to have that conversation with that person. And the way that they react to whatever conversation you're having is going to tell you everything about what you need to know in that situation. So, Pisces season has been very revealing so far, and it will be continuing to be revealing. And as we move into Aquarius season, just before that, we'll have the full moon in Virgo. And that's going to be closing a cycle around your family stuff on the 18th. Really, really say what your truth is. It's always going to be the best way to get through things is speaking your truth. So there's, and Virgo is about nurturing. Virgo is the great nurturer. So the full moon in Virgo is always about us nurturing ourselves. Cards flying everywhere. We want this one down here. I feel like this reading is coming where it's just the feeling that I'm getting, and I really just want to say it this way, is it's not what I thought it was. This is not what I thought it was going to be like. This is not what I expected it to be like. This is not what I wanted it to be like. Okay. So we have the Sun, which I love that you have the Sun as the first card here. And then we have the Page of Cups. And then we have the Eight of Swords. Here's the thing, Cancer. You know what it is that you want, but there's something that you're not willing to be honest with yourself about, or there's some kind, like, you're overthinking the process. I'm not trying to gaslight your feelings in any way. I'm not trying to tell you that you're wrong. I know legitimately in your heart and your mind and all of that, you feel like things were supposed to be a certain way, and this is the way that you wanted it to be. And that Eight of Swords is telling me, because she's blindfolded, like, she doesn't even want to see the fact that she's in a prison of her own making. And the prison is in her mind. It's not in her environment. And I feel like that's the revelation for you in March. I feel like you are recognizing that you manifested this place that you're in. So then we have the Emperor at the bottom. We have the Four of Wands. And we have the Seven of Pentacles. So coming into March, you could be dealing with a Leo energy or an Aries energy. But coming into March, it feels very much like there's this something is trying to reveal itself to you. And I feel like you are refusing to see what this revelation is because you want it to look, because you have an idea, like you already know what all, I mean, the sun is a very psychic energy. You already know what this thing is that you're supposed to be doing or what you're seeing. And it has to do with your home life. It has to do with the seeds that you're planting and your home life and trying to be in control of it and trying to for some of you, you're starting a new business at home this month. For some of you, you're growing a business at home this month. But the Emperor is the boss energy. And so I feel like whatever it is that you are desiring to have, the funny thing is it's already happening. It's already working out. It's already coming together. But because it doesn't look the way that you wanted it to look quite yet, and there are maybe still some frustrations, and there are some things that are just not quite coming together, I feel like that is probably one of the reasons why you're sitting in an Eight of Swords kind of energy. Because things are happening. And I feel like the sun's energy is sort of opening a lot of stuff for you, and you manifested it. Now, I do want to say, and I want to say this, and I want you to understand that we're gonna talk about the other side of this as well, that if you are in a situation where you're like, yes, I manifested this, and you're telling yourself that because you manifested this and this was quote unquote what you got from trying, manifesting this, and it isn't what you want and you're not happy, that's also okay. But you have to be really honest with yourself. Are you unhappy because you're unhappy about the situation? Or are you unhappy because the things that are happening in the situation are making you unhappy? Either way, you don't have to stay where you don't feel comfortable, period, at all. And so, there's this very real question that you have going with yourself in March. And I'm not surprised. Virgo, that Virgo full moon is really wanting you to have communication happening in your third house, really wanting you to have the communication with people and wanting you to be open and honest. Virgos aren't always like that, but this full moon is helping you release it, right? The sun in Aries is also going to be really, really amazing for career matters. So you want to make sure the energies that you're bringing into the rest of the year as we get into the astrological new year, when Aries season hits on March 20th, you want to make sure that what you're bringing in there is what is going on in your heart. If you're second guessing yourself, you got to ask yourself why. Why are you second guessing yourself about this? Whatever it is that you're second guessing yourself about, that's what that Eight of Swords feels like. It's like, this is what I manifested. This is what I wanted. Why does it not feel right? Why am I talking myself out of this? Why? Because it could be that you're having to learn lessons within whatever relationship, whatever situation, whatever thing it is that you're doing. And if you keep running away from that, or if you keep on pulling yourself out of it, you'll just, the next situation will come along and you'll learn lessons there too. So it's very interesting how this is going to happen. So I'm really interested to clarify in your extended, and we'll talk a little bit deeper into your astrology as well in the extended. I love you guys. I hope you have a really wonderful March. See you in the extended. Hi Leo, welcome to your March 2022 reading. March. You know, the closer we get to March, the easier the energy is getting. And I'm a little worried about the first week in March with that new moon in Pisces, because it will be very emotional. And for you guys, it's all happening in your 8th house, because Pisces season for you is about learning, excuse me, learning how to find faith for yourself when it comes to sharing space with other people, when it comes to deepening your relationships with people, when it comes to like sharing monetary things with people, you know, like money or partnerships, like jobs, like work and stuff. So this one in particular is showing you where those relationships that really weren't all that deep to begin with are kind of just falling, like, because you can have, oh wow, you guys are showing up. Whew, love this so far. Hold on. You can be in a relationship with someone for a really, really long time and not really get very deep into a relationship with them. I kind of have had that marriage times 2, to be honest, because you can go an entire relationship's time and not really reveal anything about yourself. You can just keep it all inside. Now, that's kind of rare. Like, that doesn't really like, that happens in like arranged marriages, I think, and stuff. Even some arranged marriages turn out where they very much love each other. But there's this respect when it comes to the 8th house. You go from the 7th house of partnerships and you get to the 8th house, and there's this, the reason why it's such a deepening of emotion is because that's where you find respect, and that's where you find, you know, when things start to change in life, when things start to get scary in life, when things start to, you know, when death comes knocking at the door for, you know, anybody close to you, or sickness comes knocking at the door, or financial problems come knocking at the door, anything that can bring stress to your life, this is where you find the people that are going to ride or die for you. That's what the 8th house is about. And they're the people that are going to be able to look at you and say, you know, I don't care what your status is. I don't care how, you know, this or that. You know, I just care about how you are loving yourself, or how you're, you know, let's take care of you. Let's figure this out and take care of you. That's, you know, that's where you're going to find those 8th house people. And so Pisces season is very much going to be that revealing to you, like that. The people that are projecting onto you, you're not going to be able to handle it anymore. You're going to just be able, you're going to look at them and be like, I just don't have time for this. You know, those things where you, if you've been holding it in and you haven't been allowing yourself to weep for the things that you're mourning, this is going to be the time that happens. And the reason why is because the 9th house, once the sun gets into the 9th house of Aries, you're going to want to expand, Leo. So let's look at your cards. First card came out was you, and that King of Wands. Sorry, the chroma makes some of the gold in the card turn out funny. I don't know. It's a thing. So we have the King of Wands, and then we have the 10 of Cups. Beautiful. And then the 10 of Wands. More beautiful. And then the Eight of Cups, how fitting that we're talking about the eighth house and having to walk away from those emotional attachments that weren't deep enough for you. And then we have the King of Pentacles. And we have the Magician. Okay. I love this, by the way. So there may be an earth sign that you're walking away from. But even if it's not an earth sign that you're walking away from, it may be that you are just emotionally invested in parts of this earth sign and you're recognizing that you shouldn't be so emotionally invested in some of the things. I love that the Ten of Cups and the Ten of Wands came out because, first of all, I know how hard it's taking you to find that peace. The Ten of Cups is about the overall happiness, the overall peace, the overall abundance, but it's the feeling of it, right? It's not the pentacles. I see the Ten of Pentacles as like getting that ultimate happiness and abundance that that started off as the Ten of Cups and was that imaginative and like yes, and then working your way to that, and that's what I see here. And what I love is that with the Ten of Cups and the Ten of Wands, what you have going here is the fact that you worked so hard, or you are in the middle of working so hard, and yes, it feels very daunting. That Ten of Wands is extremely daunting. You're having to carry those all the way up that hill, but you're almost done. There are 2 tens. You're almost done. And even this guy in the Eight of Cups is taking a journey. And I feel like that's sort of that last thread, right? Before you get to this Ten of Wands, that last trek up the hill. It's whatever that emotional investment, either in this King of Pentacles or whatever the emotional investment is, when it comes to what it is that you're manifesting. This could be a Virgo energy because we have the Magician here, but I feel like that whatever it is that you're emotionally invested in when it comes to this Ten of Cups, because the Ten of Cups is this, it's like the fantasy, and it's great to have fantasies. It's great to use your imagination. We should be doing that more often. And, you guys having the sun ruling you and you guys having, being in the 5th house rulership, that is creating joy straight from your heart. And if you're not able to do that for yourself, or if you have people around you that are not allowing you to create joy and love straight from your heart, and they're just creating restrictions upon restrictions upon restrictions, it's very hard to imagine, right? That Ten of Cups becoming a reality. And you've worked so incredibly hard to get to where you are. And so Pisces season is letting you know that you have all of the tools. You have all of the capacity and all of the tools, especially with Jupiter in your 8th house, to manifest the things that you desire right now. That Jupiter in Pisces being in your 8th house is really great manifesting energy. You just have to make sure that you're doing it for your best and highest good. And understand that Jupiter's going to ask you to take things out of your life so that you can expand and you can create. And when the sun gets into Aries, and we'll talk about this a little bit more in the extended, but when the sun gets into Aries, you will want that extra space to expand. You will want that extra, that extra time, that extra energy, physical energy. There's just so much that is available to you if you allow yourself to make space for it. And the fact that you're even coming into your reading, just sitting in your own power, tells me that you recognize that, you realize that. So, really excited to get into the extended. It really does feel like that you're coming to the end of a very long, difficult road that you've been on. And you just sort of have this one, it's like this one last energy cord, almost is what it feels like. And the energy cord isn't even the thing that it's attached to. It doesn't even have anything to do with what it's attached to. It has everything to do with how you are attached to it. You see? And that's I think that's the trick with most energy cords that we do have. It's not even about the thing that it's attached to, the person that it's attached to, or whatever. It's about the attachment that we have to it, the emotional attachment, because it's not needed for your survival. It's not even needed to make you feel good, because it didn't make you feel good. That's why it's no longer in your space. You know? All right, so we'll get further into the astrology and clarify the cards more in the extended. I love you guys. I hope you have a really great March. Bye. Hi, Virgo. Welcome to your March 2022 reading. So I wanted to talk about the half birthdays with Virgo suns, but this is a reading that I do for the sun and the rising sign. So often you're going to hear me talking about the house system, and that is based on the rising sign, but you can also use the sun as your rising sign, especially if you don't have a time of birth. So that's why I like to say these are the sun and the rising sign. But for my Virgo suns out there who are watching this, Pisces season is a time where we have our half birthday. That's when the sun is directly opposite your sun. And my half birthday is on February 24th this year. And it's sort of like the half solar return, right? So the solar return is when the sun comes back to that the position it was when you were born, and the half birthday is when the sun is just opposite, so it's opposite. And this is a culmination of energy. There are 3 different times where it sort of feels like it's your birthday, or sort of they're really big energy culmination times in a year that we have, and that is on your birthday. And there's, I don't know if this is for everybody, but I always feel this very intense energy that week right before my birthday. There's this sort of portal of energy that we go through to level up. And then when the sun is in the sign of your rising sign, so like I'm a Libra rising, so Virgo season is good for me. Libra season, and Virgo season is kind of sometimes iffy for me because it's my 12th house. But when the sun is in Libra, I always feel good. I always have good Libra seasons. And then we have the half birthday when the sun is opposite. So, and you can find that by seeing what degree your sun is at, and then looking for that degree in Pisces, when the sun is in Pisces, looking for that degree. And then you can find the day of when that degree of the sun is going to be on there. And if you need a little bit more help, you can ask one of your astrology friends, or get a reading from an astrologer to ask that question as well. So, but it really is, it's a great time to reflect on where you are with yourself with the year. For me, because, and it's so funny because looking back, before I knew about like the whole half birthday, I mean, like, you always talk about your half birthday and how it'd be funny to celebrate your half birthday, but it's a real actual thing. And so I would think back, and this is always has been a very intense time for me. And because it's my 6th house also, there's always something that has to do with my health when it comes to Pisces season. So just looking and allowing yourself to assess how far you've come from your birthday, and making sure that you're making the changes. Am I in a good place? If I'm not in a good place, what are the things that I need to do to change my life? Stuff like that. So the half birthday can really tell you a lot of things about what the rest of your year before your next solar return in August or September is going to look like. So we really want to talk about that. But also, with all of this Pisces energy for those Virgo risings and Virgo suns, we have a big spotlight on our relationships during this time of year. And this new moon with Jupiter and Neptune in the sun and Mercury will be showing up in Pisces just a couple of days after the new moon happens. There's this healing that's happening in our house of relationships, in the 7th house. There's a big cleansing that's happening. That doesn't mean that relationships are falling by the wayside. That means that you are healing the relationships in your life. And you're doing this in order for you. It's, the more we heal the relationship with ourselves, the easier it is to heal the relationships with other people. That's sort of how that works. There's a need for you to understand that everything is being taken care of, that everything, Virgos especially, we can get really, really hard on ourselves. We can really be determined to be ultra independent. We were tiny adults when we were children. We didn't even really have an opportunity to be a child. Like what is being a child even, right? Like the only reason why I know how to have childlike wonder is because my moon is in Sagittarius, for Pete's sake. Like, and my Mercury and Jupiter are in Leo. That helps me to have that childlike wonder. But it's necessary for Virgos to do that, because we can become very, very hard on ourselves. So, and Pisces season is trying to show you that even when you allow yourself to rest, amazing things can happen. And if Virgos understood that Pisces season is not a time for you to go, but it's a time for you to take a step back and take a break, take a vacation during Pisces season, there you can manifest more out of your year if you allow yourself to take some time off during Pisces season. That was probably one of my biggest lessons. And here I am working, right? The funny thing is I've learned to only work when I feel like working, and to only do things when my energy feels right to be doing those things. Like I still have moments where I force myself, but I find that I actually become more productive doing things that way instead of forcing myself to get things done. Do I still have my to-do list? Absolutely. Do I still, have the thought in my schedule and the things that I want to go by? Absolutely. It's just allowing myself to expand outside of that has given me so much more peace and so much more time. Really, it's like the time management has become insane because it's just so much easier. So I love that the first card that came out is the Four of Swords. Excuse me. Pisces season is a time of healing. And it's a time of allowing ourselves to organize our minds. Catalog our thoughts, if you will. And that's what meditation is all about. It's not about quieting your mind. I think that people started using that term, quieting your mind, because when you've cataloged those thoughts and you've organized your thoughts and you've got it all together, then it is more quiet. It's not racing anymore. But I think that's where that term came from. But so we have the Four of Swords. We have the Ten of Pentacles. The Magician. See what I mean? Four of Pentacles. The Devil. And the Sun. Man, that Capricorn energy has been tough on the home life, for sure. But I feel like some of it has really been showing us more what it takes to keep us safe and nurtured than anything else. That's where the pressure is, right? Because we don't do so well to being nurtured by others. We would rather be doing the nurturing instead. But we don't do so well when it comes to other people trying to nurture us. So there's that we had to unlearn that, that's like a toxic behavior. That's the ultra independence. So having to unlearn that is a big thing. Having to let go, having to release the attachment to what's going on. The fact that we have the magician, the devil, and the sun here shows me that there is an extremely large, valuable lesson that's been learned. And allowing yourself to take that step back and see things for the gift that they are. And this Four of Pentacles, it's very interesting. So let me show you. So when we look at this, what I feel like with this lesson here, to me, this feels like you've learned the lesson to minimize things. However, I don't want you to get into the penny pinching part. That's the part that because it's easy to do. It's easier probably to do that. I want you to make sure that you're keeping yourself open and expanded to all of the possibilities in big ways. But the biggest thing here is saying that, and this is also a lesson in money management is what I'm hearing. I know. I need that as well sometimes, for sure. But the resting, the Four of Swords, the fact that this was the first card that came out, it's so loud, you guys. Like, don't go hard during Pisces season. I know that it's almost halfway over. We're already at that new moon phase. The 20th is, the 20th of March it's not even almost halfway over. We're only a couple days in, but it feels like it's been forever. Wait until Mercury gets into Pisces. It's going to slow down even more. It's like, anyway, but yeah, so, it's things will get much, like the cleansing is really, really, really going to happen the deeper we get into it. So I'm excited to be able to see how we're going to clarify this, because I love the fact that resting is going to bring, because this Ten of Pentacles is the long-term growth, right? The long-term growth opportunities. I want to see what we're doing with that. Because when a Virgo has a long-term growth opportunity in front of them, the sabotage that could happen is very easy if they don't allow themselves to not, to open up to it. Talk yourself out of just about anything, huh? And that full moon on the 18th is really asking us, how are we giving back to ourselves? How are we nurturing ourselves versus how we're nurturing everybody else in our lives? And that is, the biggest Four of Swords. And the more you rest, the easier it's going to be to let up on those things that feel like you have to hold on to them really tightly. You won't feel so rigid. You'll feel like you don't have to control them so much. All right, I'll stop jabbering. I love you guys. Really looking forward. We're going to finish out. We're going to look more into the astrology and clarify the cards in the extended. Have a wonderful March, wonderful half birthday. I'll see you in the extended. Hi Libra, welcome to your March reading. Pisces season has been a lot more healing than the last couple of seasons we've had. So this, for you, Pisces season is always about looking at your health, about looking at the daily routine that you have, about reassessing the things that you're doing. A lot of times, and I don't know if I'm the only Libra rising that does this, but I find myself falling back into really bad like wellness habits, like toxic, codependent habits when it's winter time. Like I'm not as physically active. I'm probably not eating as well as I should be. And then Pisces season comes, and all of the sudden I'm just like, and before I knew astrology, it was even the same way. I didn't really know why Pisces season always gave me more of like a kick in the ass to get moving. But now I know why, and it's because it's our sixth house, and it's the place where we have to look at to make sure we're not overworking ourselves. You can find sickness in the sixth house as well for us because it is Pisces, and Pisces, the 12th house, is the natural ruler of Pisces. So, as well as Neptune, and Neptune is there. And so is Jupiter. So, you know, getting a new, like a new holistic wellness routine, this new moon is going to show you how to show up for yourself, basically. And then going in further into Pisces season, we'll have Mars and Venus moving into Aquarius in your fifth house, which is going to be really cool because Saturn has been there sort of crushing your dreams, if you will, and forcing you to find different ways of being creative. And so there's this massive energy that's going to be shifting into that to kind of give you this jump start and pushing you forward to help you be a little bit more creative and find those spaces that have been feeling a little bit empty and dry lately with all the creative stuff. Mercury and Saturn, before Mercury goes into Pisces on the 9th, Mercury and Saturn will join up for that Pisces new moon. So any kind of projects that you really want to put a stamp on and see grow for long-term growth, this is really that time to plan that and to get that moving and get that going, for sure, because it's all happening in your fifth house. And we're going to talk about the Virgo full moon and Aries season in the extended. Okay. Man, and yes, closing out cycles is a really big theme right now in huge ways. And that is no different for you guys. Okay, so the first card that came out, love this. The first card that came out is the World, the Eight of Cups, the Queen of Swords, sorry for the glare, Page of Swords, the Death card, and then together we have the Six of Pentacles and the Seven of Cups. All right, so what I'm really in a big way hearing for you guys is that there's definitely a chapter that you've got to tie up the loose ends in March. March is about tying up the loose ends with whatever chapter it is that you are closing out. Because you don't want to, at the end of March and moving into Aries season, like you don't want to, because Aries season is where we get to that relationship sector of our year. And we want to focus on the things that we're doing with the people that we care about in our groups and how we are healing and growing within our relationships. We don't want to have anything left over. And Aries season for Libra suns is going to be your half birthday, and that's a big culmination of energy. So we talked about the half birthdays with the Virgos during Pisces season, so we'll talk about the half birthdays for you guys during Aries season. But with this sixth house energy that you're really feeling in Pisces season, There's a desire for, and it's emotional, desire for you to wrap up, to tie up some loose ends, and it's an emotional loose end. So you're really, and it's not, and you can't think of it as you leaving things behind. You know, that Eight of Cups, when it came out and I saw that guy walking away, it was like, you know, he realizes that all of those cups are still standing. And they're all just as, you know, they're most of them will probably still be standing when he comes back, right? But the World coming out as the first card was very definitive. I think that you've made your mind up. I mean, you're showing up in your reading. Wow, the chroma key is just really doing its thing, isn't it? Showing up in your reading as your own energy. Now, we really want to be careful with Mercury conjunct Saturn, the kind of words that we're using, especially since that's going to be happening in the 5th house, and you want to be manifesting right now and not trying to create more lessons for yourself. You want to manifest with intent in good, in positive ways, right? The Page of Swords. And if you're dealing with a Scorpio energy, what you want to pay attention to is how you are approaching that Scorpio energy. They're really feeling this Pisces season in a big way, in a really, really big way. And you also, during March and Pisces season, want to be very intent and focused on what it is that you want, because the 6 of Pentacles on the 7 of Cups is really showing me that there's actually a lot of confusion or even chaos that, like, I feel like you're sort of placing your energy into the things that aren't, there's just a lot of things that you're placing your energy into, and I'm not really sure that they're the right ones, and I'm really interested in looking at this when we look further into them in the extended. Because the 7 of Cups is about feeling confused. And the 6 of Pentacles is asking you where you're placing your energy. Are you giving your energy to people, places, and things that are no longer resonating? Oh, that makes sense. So if you're walking away from something, or if you're leaving something behind and you're still giving your energy to it at the same time, that's going to cause that clash of confusion, because you're going to keep on thinking, well, if my body is pulling me back to where I'm supposed to be, like if you're, for example, if you're in a relationship and your intuition and your anxiety and all of the things that are going on in your life are so chaotic and you're so confusing and you can't focus on it anymore, and you decide that you're going to walk away, and then all of the sudden the ex shows back up again, oh, I've changed, and says all of these really pretty things to you, you get distracted and you can turn around and your focus is now on the distraction and that kind of chaos, instead of moving forward and focusing on the direction that you need to be going. And that can be in any situation. It can be a work situation. It could be a relationship. It could be you moving, or a friendship, whatever it is, right? You have to, this is about tying up loose ends. And if you are still holding on to those tied up loose ends, but going at the same time, why can't I release these energy cords? And you're still holding on to it. That's why you can't release the energy cords. Because you're the one that's creating that connection. You're the one that's creating that attachment. So, and a lot of it can be very nostalgic. A lot of this with the 7 of Cups can be very nostalgic. I'm surprised the 6 of Cups isn't out here. But if it's not a Scorpio energy, the Death card is representing the ending of something. The fact that you have the World and the Death card in the same reading is not a coincidence. This is a definitive, you've made your mind up. But now you have to tell your emotions that. You have to all be on the same page. So, really interested to see what this is going to look like. I'm really glad that you are focused on moving forward. Let's see what it is exactly that you need to do in order to not get distracted on this path. And to stay relatively kind about it as well. With that page of this page of swords can say things sometimes that they might regret later. So I love you guys. Have a wonderful March. I will see you all in the extended. Bye. Hi, Scorpio. Welcome to your March 2022 reading. So let's just feel this out for a little bit, because this is going to be an emotional month for you. There's a lot of expansion that's happening. There's a lot of restriction that you're going to feel too at the same time. So really listening to your intuition on the things that you want to see coming up, that's going to be huge for you guys, especially with the Pisces new moon happening in your 8th house. That's going to be like, if you're not listening to your intuition, it's going to be very hard for you to March is just going to be difficult. It'll just be super difficult if you are not paying attention to what it is that March is revealing to you and where to place your energies, you know? And there's it has new beginnings happening. The sun is going to be conjunct Jupiter in the first week of March. The Pisces new moon is happening. This is all ushering in some really amazing positive manifestation energy. For you guys, there's this letting go. There's this faith. There's this placing faith in yourself on letting go of things that you have been emotionally attached to and focusing more on future forward things. The 3 of Pentacles was the first card that came out. And then we have the 4 of Cups. And then we have the Fool. So really starting fresh. There's something, and the universe is trying to show you what it is that you're supposed to be paying attention to. The universe is, because the foundation that you're building and the people that are surrounding you or coming to surround you with, they have faith in you. So there's really something that the universe is showing in order for you to have faith in yourself. And it's because you have to be honest about the stuff, like what is it that you're still attached to that is stopping you from creating this new beginning or creating this new foundation, or not even creating it, but accepting that it's happening to you, that great stuff is happening to you. Because down here we have the 8 of Cups and then the 10 of Swords. So the fear of everything falling apart, of everything, nothing working out, and everything just sort of crashing to the ground, there's this massive fear that you're holding on to. And it's this, right? The Fool. And the more faith that you have in yourself, the easier it is to see the right people that are meant to help you evolve, that are meant to help you grow. The 4 of Cups, apathy, this is very interesting to me. Because sometimes I feel like what you're doing in this 4 of Cups would be more of like, I can do this on my own. This feels very ultra independent, or paying attention to, like, I have enough that's going on in front of me. I don't want to take on any more offers. I don't want to take on anything else that's coming in. But in doing that, you might miss that one opportunity out of fear, right? There just very much feels like the universe is sort of opening doors up for you. Mars and Venus ingressing into Aquarius in your fifth house in the second, or I'm sorry, in the fourth house in the second week, is kind of, instead of really harsh communication and restrictive energy, is sort of bringing a little bit more playfulness and lightness to the home life and allowing you to see things in a more jovial sort of way and not such a restricted sort of way. And Saturn in Aquarius even there is showing you how to nurture yourself by bringing you back into the past and by showing you all of those childhood things that you've needed to see. And that's what the Fool is. That's where the Fool comes from. The Fool comes from the joy of that innocence, right? That purity. And when we allow ourselves to have that childlike wonder, it's amazing to me the kind of faith that children have in themselves. You know what I mean? And then the world just sort of takes it away from them. But they're so confident. A lot of children are so very confident in the things that they're doing when they're young because people don't tell them, no, that's risky. Don't do that. They don't hear, hearing that word, no, 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 can really restrict a child from pushing forward and having faith in themselves that they can accomplish things. It can really put a kid in that 10 of Swords state. Why am I talking about childhood? Because that Mars and Venus in your fourth house is helping you to reparent yourself. It's showing you how to love and nurture yourself in a different kind of way. Aquarius is different, right? And where you might have had a more eclectic childhood, it's time for you to sort of find that stability. And a lot of times we find stability in community efforts as well. And that's where the Three of Pentacles comes in. You finding stability and building a foundation with like-minded individuals, people that have the same kind of vision that you have of the world that you want to have, that's a big deal. Because you guys don't like to do anything halfway. You guys sort of go all in. So what's interesting is when we clarify these in the extended, we're really going to be able to look at what it is that you are ignoring about what the universe is offering you. This Four of Cups is very apathetic. It's very telling to me that sometimes you're just like, I don't really care. Like, it just doesn't even really matter sometimes, right? There's that big gap in between, somebody was telling me that she's a Scorpio moon. There's so much black and white, right? Opposite, just like the massive opposite. The Six of Pentacles here, the last card that's on the bottom row, is asking you where you're placing your energies. Are you giving your energies to people, places, and things that are no longer serving you? Or are you giving your energies to the areas of your life that are giving back? In whatever way that is. That's where the focus, that's where the faith, that's where the joy is going to be. Something is definitely coming to the end of a cycle. And I think that it's a really big fear of you walking away from something, or a really big fear of you standing up for yourself after walking away for something, or a really big fear of you, the fear of if you release the attachment to things, that the actual thing is going to go away. There's that fear that happens all the time as well. So whatever it is that you're allowing yourself to focus on to create these new foundations, that's what you're going to manifest for yourself in March. We're going to talk about the Virgo full moon that's going to be happening for you in your 11th house. And we're also going to be looking a little bit deeper into what this new moon in Pisces and the beginning of Aries season, what that's going to look like for you as well. But I think March, more than anything, is about showing up for yourself instead of telling yourself that narrative in your mind, that negative narrative, telling yourself that you can't accomplish things or you can't do things, the things that you've always wanted to do. It seems like the Aquarius energy is really strong. in your reading too. So there's a lot of evolution and opening up for you, Scorpio. So I'm really excited for your March. I hope you guys have a wonderful month, and I will see you in your extended reading. Bye. Hi, Sagittarius. Welcome to your March 2022 reading. So Pisces season. There's a lot of really positive manifestation energy happening in Pisces season, and it's all happening in your fourth house, which is the house of home, the house of family. But it's also about your childhood nurturing and the stability that you learned as a child and growing up in. So there's this desire, especially with Jupiter and Neptune, both of Pisces rulers, and one of them is a co-ruler of your sign, Jupiter. But both of them feeling at home, there's this massive manifestation energy. So we're really expanding in this area. So you could find yourself wanting to move during this time, or wanting to renovate your home during this time, or even there's a lot of reparenting that could happen during this time as well. It's kind of depending on what phase you are in your life. You could even find under this Jupiter Neptune transit, or during Pisces season, that you want to deepen the relationship that you're in, or kind of commit to each other a little bit more, or something like that. So, but there's a lot of emotions that are coming up with all of this magic as well. So Pisces season is really big for healing, and doing a lot of healing for us in big ways. And the new moon that will be happening the first week of March, and then the sun, the Jupiter Cazimi. So the sun and Jupiter will be conjunct in the first week of March. There's like just so many new beginnings and so many new opportunities. And healing, allowing yourself to reparent yourself, allowing yourself to find stability that's right for who you are, and being honest about that, that's going to really help these manifestations that you are really wanting this year. So Mars and Venus will be conjunct Pluto. That's going to put some strain on finances and stuff before the ingress to Aquarius. So the ingress to Aquarius happens, it's like the 6th or 7th of March. But there's something really coming in. There's something about having to, really release the expectations of how things are supposed to look right now in a big, big way. There's sort of this painful ending that's happening as you are coming in. And I don't even know if it's a painful ending. The 10 of Swords for me is about your mind. It's about like the overthinking process in your mind. But there's something about, I think that this is the expectations. I feel like the 10 of Swords is a really big expectation, and the disappointment from it. And to me, it's the illusion of what that expectation should be, actually. You know what I mean? It's like, it's not even you're making something bigger out of what is actually happening. And then but whatever it is that you had expectations of working didn't work out, there's something that's much bigger behind it. So we have the Seven of Pentacles, and then we have the Sun. So there's this ending, and it was really an ending, like an ending of the ego, or the ending of something that but it made room for you to plant some more seeds. And it really feels like that March is going to sort of be the light at the end of the tunnel. Now, this Ten of Swords doesn't have to be something that happened recently. The Ten of Swords could have been something that happened in the past, or something that was tried in the past and didn't work out, and then but it made room, it made opportunity for something in the future to blossom. But there was an expectation of whatever it was that didn't work out. There was an expectation. And so, there's this anxiety. The Ten of Swords can often come with anxiety of, the things that you're now doing not working out. But you've created an energy for its success with this Sun card. Now, you could be dealing with a Leo energy. We also have a Libra energy too. But there's the Queen of Wands. So there is your card. There's your energy. I'm having a hard time with the lighting and the cards these days and getting them focused. And then we have Justice. So that Libra energy is there. But then we have your energy again with the Wheel of Fortune. Whatever it was that didn't work out really made a lot of room for you to expand into something better. And it's also part of the balance that you're creating, right? The Wheel of Fortune is about timing. So in March, if you allow yourself to, instead of focusing on the things that didn't work out in the past and how things didn't work out in the past, and instead you focus on how you would like to see things work out in the future, while creating a healthy energy for yourself in the present, that's not easy to do. You're like, how do I do that? That sounds awfully interesting and intimidating. There are structures that you've built and responsibilities that you've had up until now. And that Virgo full moon that'll happen on the 18th will ask you to reassess. And I think that that's where, because the Ten of Swords feels like it's like an insecurity almost, or a fear or an anxiety of something not working out because it didn't work in the past. And there's a need to change the mindset about it, because justice, often when we see that Justice card, you could be going through some legal things. This could be about a legal matter, where something you've been dealing with legal matters with someone for a really long time, and here we are. It's showing up, the time and the date, and everything is happening, and it's coming together. This could also, just be about how you are showing up for yourself in an everyday kind of way. But it has to do with the way that you're presenting yourself to the world as well, because you're not going to show up to anything when it's like halfway. Something's like halfway done or whatever. So the way that you see yourself is the way that you're going to present it. And that Virgo full moon is going to show you all the ways that you are not showing up in your authentic voice. And I think that that's what a lot of that Ten of Swords fear is. As you manifest all of this new stuff into your life and you start to see how things are working out. And we're going to see that. We're going to look more into that more. We're going to clarify the cards a little bit more in the extended. And we will get a little bit deep. We'll get deeper into the astrology and talk more about what that new moon and the Virgo full moon and Aries season, the beginning of Aries season, because you coming into Aries season with that Wheel of Fortune, there's some kind of shift that's happening. So really cool. I love you guys. Have a wonderful March. I'm excited to clarify your stuff. I'll see you in the extended. Bye. Hi Capricorn. Welcome to your March 2022 reading. We are doing this the day after the Pisces new moon. So you're probably feeling the effects of that pretty heavily. This Pisces new moon happened in your third house, as all of them do. This Pisces new, all of them happen in your third house. And probably brought a lot of stuff to the surface regarding the way you communicate with other people. Probably also had you maybe even thinking about wanting to move or starting to make those plans to do that. The sun was also conjunct Jupiter the same week as the new moon. So there's this massive manifestation energy that's going on. So because it's happening in your third house and this Pisces new moon, no matter when you watch this, all the way up until the 18th of March, the Pisces new moon is going to be there for manifesting for you. So write it down, write it down, write it down. All of your intentions, write it down. And you may be feeling pretty stressed when it comes to financial stuff, the way that you feel about yourself, authority figures. There's this, you just really don't want to deal with people at the beginning of March. Like the first 2 weeks in March is just a really good time to get all of your ducks in a row, and allow yourself to make plans for how you want to see things moving forward, right? It's going to be a pretty emotional month. And I mean, I know how earth signs do with emotions. I'm in the same boat as you guys. But what I want you to really understand is that the more we allow ourselves to surrender to the emotions, the less we're going to feel them in the future. Hello. You know what I mean? It's like when we allow ourselves to process instead of numbing. And everybody's going to do it in their own time. But this Mars and Venus conjunct Pluto just before it moves into Aquarius on the 6th of March is putting a lot of pressure on you to show up for you. And it is showing you areas of your life that have become so incredibly restrictive and it's no longer placing value on you, that there's this power struggle. And you feel like people are like telling you what to do all the time. And you feel like you can't, like there's no flow, right? You just feel very restricted. And so before Mars and Venus move into Aquarius, which is going to lighten a lot of stuff up for you, you feel this massive restriction in the first week of March. And really like the first 2 weeks of March, there's this massive restriction. So, and it's all about the unknown. Really, so we have the King of Swords as the first card out. Sorry for the glare. Working with lighting when, like, it's really sunny one day and it's really cloudy the next day. It's just annoying. And then we have the moon. And we have the Queen of Cups. For some of you, you're coming into March with this shield over you, even though where people can't see you, you're sort of turning into a squishy, mushy mess. Like in those times when, at night, when other people aren't around and stuff like that, you sort of fall to pieces and become very emotional. For some of you, you're dealing with an air sign and a water sign, and you're not entirely sure what's happening with either one of them. And I feel like when there's this big fat question mark right in the middle, or, I'll see, it doesn't feel right. If you're dealing with two people and you don't know what to do with those two people, or you don't know which person you're supposed to be with or something like that, if that's in like a relationship way, I would rather you make that decision for yourself when you're a little bit more clear in your mind. Because if you're questioning yourself that hard about two different people, it's an automatic no. There's this surrender. The other thing that really is very interesting is I feel like for some of you, this King of Swords is like someone who feels sort of like an authority figure, but they've been a little bit harsh with you. So it could be a boss. It could even be like a significant other that you maybe had an argument with and you're sort of seeing them in a different perspective. But it's made you very emotional, and I'm not necessarily sure that you're showing that. The moon is telling me that there's a lot of unknowns around this situation that has to do with an air sign, an authority figure, and your emotional state. The Queen of Cups is you. I'm just going with that in this scenario because that's what it feels like. It feels like you're very much whatever is impacting you at the beginning of March, it's because it's an unknown. It's because there's this like fear, this emotional fear that's coming up because you don't know the whole story. And the moon, what's great about the moon, and especially when we get the full moon in Virgo on the 18th, the moon actually reveals so much to us. Even when it's a new moon, even when it's dark, right? And it's a new moon, there's so much revelation around the moon cycle. So paying attention to your intuition, especially because this new moon is in Pisces for you. And it's in the 3rd house. Your gut feeling is right on 100%. And so 9 of Wands, the bottom 3 cards, we have the 9 of Wands, surrendering, Temperance, and the 6 of Wands. And that's really the biggest story of your reading, Capricorn, is your amount of allowance to surrender to what's happening in your life, the amount that you allow that surrendering to happen, that's where the success comes from. You could also be dealing with the Sagittarius energy, but I feel like this is your own efforts to balance your heart and your mind. That's what happens when you surrender. Your heart and your mind begin to balance. If you've been living too far in your masculine, the logical, the needing to hustle, the needing to do this, the needing to get ahead, the needing to da-da-da-da, I understand Capricorns are the goats for a reason. You guys will climb to the top no matter what it takes. The amount of things that you all can do in a 24-hour period is amazing to me, but I need you to recognize also that there is a healthy level of balance. And when we come to that healthy level of balance for ourselves and we surrender to it in our lives, recognizing, I mean, there's still going to be a hustle in there for you. You're still going to do it. It's just going to look differently. It's not that you have to stop working. I mean, you guys are always going to be working hard. But you also have to understand that there's an amount of energy that the universe also uses. Once you get something flowing, once you get something sparked and you put your focus on that, the energy is going to show you. The energy is going to be your deciding factor. If that thing is flowing, and even if it has like some little bumps along the way or whatever, but things are happening, everything really looks positive, stuff is flowing in that direction, then you know that that's the path that you're supposed to be taking. If you start to put your focus and energy in that space, in that area, and things start moving, and immediately there are restrictions after restrictions after restrictions after restrictions, you feel like you have to keep backtracking, you get really aggravated, really aggressive, really angry, really frustrated, whatever it is, sad even. There are times when I get so frustrated the tears are just, and Pisces season's gonna do it to you. I'm just saying. That's how you know that path is not correct at this time. There may be certain things that need to be done in order for that path to come back around and be smooth again. It's just not the time for it right now. And instead of looking at yourself as a failure for that not working at this moment, how about you just look at it and be like, well, this is what it is. There's going to be a better way. There's going to be a bigger way. Something's got to open up. And that's how you connect all of that. Pisces season is going to be a really big reflection on your self-esteem and the amount of care that you give to it. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how much fame you have and fortune and abundance and whatever you have that the public gives you. It's what you're giving to yourself. So your brand of abundance is extremely important. I just realized this string was just hanging down the whole time. Anyway, I love you guys. I'm really excited to go to clarify this in the extended because it looks like things are really going to start looking up mid-March for you. And of course, we're going to look deeper into the astrology. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I love you guys. Have a wonderful March. I'll see you in the extended. Bye. Hi, Aquarius. Excuse me. Welcome to your March reading. Last but certainly not least, there's a lot of energy going on in your second house with Pisces, with the new moon. And then we'll have the sun and Jupiter conjunct that same week. And we'll also have the sun sextile Uranus and Taurus. Like it's all happening within the first week of March. And the great thing about this energy is even though it has to do with the sun moves a degree every day, so it moves pretty quickly away from these planets, we're still going to be able to utilize all of this energy because it's happening with the new moon. So you have Jupiter also in your second house helping to boost your income, but there's kind of a catch when it comes to Jupiter, because with Jupiter, and especially because it's the second house placing value on your life and the things, like it's literally asking you what kind of value are you placing on the things in your life versus the value that you place on yourself. And so Jupiter will, if he wants to expand that area of your life, or if he wants to show you your value in different ways and expand that part, he's going to remove some things. And a lot of people don't like that, especially the fixed signs. You know who you are. But it's necessary. It's necessary for our evolution and our growth. And we've been talking about this for years, Aquarius, about how we need to have this expansion. And it can be really hard when you're not ready for it, when you feel like you're not ready for it. So there's going to be a lot of focus on what you value and how you really are focusing your energy on the things that you place value in. The Virgo full moon is going to have people projecting onto you. Please be careful with that. And the sun ingress to your third house will probably have you wanting to run away, to be quite honest. So once you get to the 20th, like the lead up through Mars and Venus will be moving into your first house, which is going to be delightful comparatively to that 12th house energy. So things are going to start to lighten up, if not maybe even speed up for you and start moving a little bit faster. But the biggest part of March is really trusting in yourself and having faith on the directions that you're going in, because there will be people, there will be things, there will be people that kind of show up in your life that are trying to drag you down, that are trying to make you feel less valuable, right? Oh, wow. Okay. Got it. So there's this massive pause that all of this Pisces energy is doing for you to show you the value within yourself. The first card that came out was the Seven of Wands. So you feel very guarded coming into March, which makes a lot of sense because the next card is the Three of Swords. And the next card after that is the Eight of Swords. So you feel very shut down, you feel very guarded, you feel very much like you want to be left alone, and that's perfectly fine, but I don't want you to do it out of anger. I want you to do it out of a chance to allow yourself to heal. The movement forward that's going to be happening for you in March is going to be a steady movement forward, but it's happening. Like you've got the universal support, and that may be the reason why you're all twisted up in your mind. We have the Knight of Pentacles with the Eight of Swords, and the Eight of Swords is a self-imposed imprisonment of your own mind. And I feel like something might have happened, and it might have happened in February, it might have happened in January, it might have happened a year ago, it might have happened 2 years ago. I don't know what it is. But I feel like there was something, and that sort of, now it's coming back, like you're feeling it again. Because our body doesn't know whether we're like in the same trauma again, because our mind makes the emotion. And so if we're thinking about something that happened in the past, or we're thinking about a situation that we were in, and our mind creates the same emotion as it was when we were in that situation the first time, or even if it expands that emotion that we were from the first time, our body immediately goes into trauma, fight, or flight, which is the Eight of Swords. Thank you very much. Because you're literally fighting with yourself in the Eight of Swords. You're not fighting with, there's nobody else there. She's blindfolded and she's tied up, but it's not even tight. Like it's super loose. Like she could get out of that at any moment. She chooses to stay there. And it's out of fear. If she came out of those swords, where else is she going to get hurt? Right? That's the fear with that Three of Swords there. How else am I going to get hurt in life? What else is going to happen? So there's this guardedness. Makes a lot of sense. But there's very much something about you showing up for yourself in March. We have the Knight of Pentacles. We have Judgment. So something is moving forward as planned is what I'm hearing. Whether you like it or not, something is moving forward, and the universe is really taking care of some things behind the scenes. So the last three cards here that were kind of grouped together as they came out, we have the Hanged Man, the Ace of Cups, and the Empress. So this pause, this tension, this feeling sort of like you're in this restrictive sort of mode that's going on here has everything to do with you seeing things in a different point of view and giving love back to yourself. And even in a way, with the Empress there, you could be dealing with a Libra or a Taurus energy. But I feel like this is more about you showing up for yourself and reminding yourself of who you are. And that's what this pause means. That's what, and the tension before it and the emotional stuff that came up with it, all of that needed to happen in order for you to understand this part. What it was that you needed in order to really nurture yourself. Sorry for the weird chroma that's going on with that card. Aries season is probably going to have you feeling this Eight of Swords quite a bit as well, just because, and when Mars and Venus are in your sign, they are going to make a square to Uranus, and they will also trine Saturn. Mars and Venus will both trine Saturn. So there's a lot of work on the changes that we have to make in our life and the relationships that we have as we make these changes in our life. And are we allowing ourselves to level up with the people in our lives, or is there necessary and necessity to remove some things? That's going to help you bring your guard down. If you ask yourself those questions, it will help you bring your guard down. You have to be open and vulnerable. You're like, no, Betsy, I don't have to be open and vulnerable. All right. You don't have to be open and vulnerable. But you're not going to see what the universe is going to bring to you if you're not. You can have healthy, loving boundaries in your life and be open and vulnerable. It's absolutely to exist on both of those levels. 100%. But you have to believe it. And I think that this is kind of, March is going to be sort of that month that brings that to you, that sort of forces you to see things for how they really are and not just the way that you wanted them to be. How many times have we done that to ourselves? And so don't recreate the memories in your brain to make you feel like there's this massive pressure that you have to put yourself under. Recognize that it's always forward movement from no matter how that day started, okay? I love you guys. Take care of yourselves. Have a wonderful March. I will see you in your extended. Bye.